I'm just gonna start this video by saying that any scenarios or examples used in this video is entirely fictional and it's not something that I know anything about or have anything to do with. So, piracy. First of all, who came up with the name of pirates and piracy? Because nowadays, in our society, pirates are generally glorified and seen as really badass, so being called a pirate just makes you seem really cool. Secondly, I just want to comment on how anti-piracy videos just seem to be really stupid. I mean, there's one in the UK which is like, you wouldn't steal a handbag, you wouldn't steal a car, so don't pirate, because piracy is stealing!
Actually, under Section 1 of the 1968 Theft Act, it says, a person is guilty of theft if he dishonestly appropriates property belonging to another with the intention of permanently depriving the other of it. Piracy does not involve permanently depriving anyone of anything, and therefore piracy cannot be seen as theft.
Lawyered! Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that piracy is right. I am all for giving the original creators of something the credit and the money that they deserve. I just don't think that the current system is working. But here's a question. Does piracy actually affect people going to the cinema and buying movies? I think that many people go to cinema for the cinema experience. I know that for me personally, the only reason that I don't go to cinema as often now is because the prices have gone up. Not because it's so much easier to go and find it online. But despite the prices going up, I'll still go and see certain movies like The Hunger Games or The Avengers because I want to see them in that cinema environment. Much smarter people than me have done research into this area and found there isn't a direct correlation between the increase in piracy and people going to the cinema, at least in the US. I'll include a link to the article below if you want to read it yourself. However, internationally they did find that there was some reduction in cinema going as pirating has become more popular. However, this was also correlated to the time between the release in the US and the release for everyone else. And personally, I feel that this is where you get the main issue. The world is changing, and thanks to the internet we are all connected. And so we're not just restricted to talking to those people who we are geographically close to anymore. So I can say that I actually have friends in America who I've never actually met in person before. Although I'm really excited to meet them all at VidCon this year. But we've chatted through things like Google+, Hangouts and Skype, so now we've formed these friendships despite never having met each other formally. Now, if you haven't guessed already, I am quite nerdy, and so I like talking about nerdy stuff like TV and movies. So the people who I gravitate towards naturally and will even seek out online are also nerdy people who like to talk about the same things as I do. But here's the issue, especially with TV shows. Things are often released a lot earlier in the US. I mean, several months earlier. So, when all of my online friends are discussing the latest episode of whatever, if I don't want to be spoiled, I either have to leave the conversation or I could watch it online. Even if you tell me to wait, some shows aren't even released in the UK at all. There have been several examples of this over the years, but I think the most prominent one right now is for a show called Community, which is amazing, and all the internet peoples are watching it, but like nobody in the UK has ever heard about it and it's not released here, but I still want to watch it and discuss it with my online friends, so what do? I feel like TV networks are starting to realize that the world is actually changing. People will now watch what they want and when they want to, which is why I think a lot of TV networks have introduced on-demand TV. This is definitely a step in the right direction, however the problem is that they're still restricted to each individual country, so it still doesn't solve the main problem at hand. However, I do understand that opening up internationally would create a lot more problems. For example, adverts from a company that only relates to one country wouldn't be relevant to like an international audience, and so what's the point in showing those adverts to all the people? Although the world with the internet is definitely becoming more globalized, and that is the direction that we need to go into. Maybe the whole system needs to change. Maybe TV networks are quite redundant now. Shows could have their own websites and then they will go directly to the advertisers themselves and have different adverts for different countries, and will make it more like web shows. Although this could create an issue with funding because the network obviously has a lot of money which they can take from one show and put it into another. But as we've seen now with Kickstarter campaigns starting everywhere, people are willing to fund stuff that they like themselves, so that might be the future as well. I don't know. But this is just essentially what I think. There's a lot of jumble thoughts in there. I tried to press a lot into a little time span. So I would really like to know what you guys think. So leave me a comment below letting you know your thoughts on the issue, what the future of TV is, if piracy needs to be cracked down more, or if actually the system needs to change. I am genuinely curious as to what other people think, so it'd be really cool to have a conversation. But I guess that's really all I have to say for now, so until next time, outro of Ninja!